you, Wayne. Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Cicero Planning Board meeting. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Duval, would you lead us off?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order of business is the approval of the minutes from the February 16th meeting. Everybody's had a chance to review. Any questions or comments?
Move as printed.
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes, minutes have been passed. Next, we'll open the meeting to public comment. If there's anybody here that wishes to speak to any active application that's currently before the board, we welcome you up. There is a public hearing scheduled tonight, so if you want to talk about that particular item, I ask that you wait until the public hearing is open. Is there anybody that would like to address the board? If nobody has come forward, we'll close the public input. And move on to agenda item number 1. This is the public hearing for the property on Thompson Road. This is a 2-lot subdivision. This property also is being considered for a zone change, but tonight the public hearing is for the the subdivision. So with that, we'll open the, you want to come up? Sure, come on up. Give a quick presentation. Did I do it?
My name is Christian Freeman from Keplinger Freeman Associates. Just want to do a brief overview. The property is located on Thompson Road. The proposed subdivision would split the lot from agricultural to agricultural and neighborhood commercial. I understand the zone change is a separate issue. The project in question would have a small development that would be doing book publishing and producing with the potential for a small educational element as well. In the packets and the submission, you should now see elevations and renderings of the building, as well as the revised subdivision. In addition, today we received SOCPA comments, or rather maybe no comments, nothing outstanding. So that's sort of where we stand with this currently.
Thank you. With that, we'll open the public input section. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this project? Please come up.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Doherty and I live in the Bellwood development, which is just behind there. So I just kind of am wondering how big is this project supposed to be? And if it's publishing, how are they planning on getting materials in or out? Because that would affect things such as traffic flow and also, I mean, I don't know that you guys know or care, but the rest of the Bellwood development desperately needs to be repaved, as does Thompson Road. So, you know, talking additional traffic and that is definitely a concern, not to mention, I know there are some businesses towards the Taft End Road, but I'm not real comfortable with the idea of moving commercial further up and in.
All very good questions. And we do care about your roads, but we don't take care of that part of it. So tonight we're looking
there. The other side of the creek got done. I'm waiting, sorry.
Tonight, we're looking at just subdivision, separating
Okay.
this piece. The zone change, the planning board made a recommendation to the town board to approve the zone change to neighborhood commercial for
Okay.
this parcel. The town board is having a public hearing on the 8th,
The 9th.
the 9th,
Okay,
on this particular project. And then assuming that is approved by the town board, then the applicant would come back in front of this board for site plan review.
okay,
However, under neighborhood commercial, there are some pretty good restrictions as far as it's got to fit in with the neighborhood. It's got to be low traffic type business. And the applicant did address that somewhat at our last meeting. Really low traffic activity. Can you come up and maybe address that? I think there was one delivery truck a
Sure.
week.
Yeah, so in our current plan, we have a turning movement available for a large semi truck. Currently, the operation is small. What we want to do is when we plan, come before the town and before the board, We want to plan for maximum impact. At its current impact, we have one large truck, box truck delivery every 2 months.
Okay,
If this were to scale up, they anticipate one tractor trailer per month.
okay,
So in terms of large scale vehicles, wear tear on the road, you're seeing a small impact. The current employee structure is 6 employees
okay.
at maximum at one time. So
Okay.
we're not talking large crowds on the day to day as well.
24 hours or just like a 9 to 5?
Nope, like a 9 to 5.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I think the thing that you ought to, also, we ought to tell you, is they don't print at this location. The printer is off-site. I think they're in the Midwest. So books are delivered to the site, and there they basically pack them up and send them out. So, because that upset me when I first heard that it sounded like we were gonna have a printing press and that kind
Right.
of stuff. That's not,
So it's kind of like a mini warehouse type thing?
yes.
Their office, their office.
Yep.
And how big is the building proposed?
So since we're gonna follow the neighborhood commercial development, we set our square footage down. So there's commercial development, which allows for a bigger impact. We went before the board with neighborhood commercial because it's a smaller group and we understand that we're between a commercial and residential
So
district.
there is a difference then between the
Right.
two, and if it's
So we're
approved, you
smaller.
still have to remain with, you couldn't change from neighborhood to regular
Correct.
commercial.
Without coming back before the board.
Okay.
So if that happened, then everyone could come out and say, no, we want a certain size. I believe we settled on it under 8,000 square feet
Total, right.
for neighborhood
Proposing,
commercial.
you were proposing
Yes.
5,000, I think?
Right, somewhere in the 5,000.
Okay, all right. And then with this division, what, you're just gonna divide part of the land that's already there? I'm sorry, I just recently heard about
Oh, no.
this, so I haven't had a chance to,
Yeah.
This is the entire piece,
okay,
the outside line. And this line is what will be subdivided out of it if it's approved.
okay.
This
Got it.
property right here, that's where the business would go.
And we're looking at Taft at the far end, is that it?
Taft would be way to the south at the bottom.
Oh, okay,
Down here.
gotcha, okay, so now I know where I am, got it, thank you very much.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
thank you, and I appreciate your input, I appreciate it.
We appreciate your questions.
Absolutely. Would anybody else like to address the board? Any other questions? If not, we'll close the public input and I'll open it up to the board. Mr. Duval,
I'm good.
Mr. Abbey,
Also good.
Mr. Snyder,
I'm good.
Mr. Bloss,
All set.
I'm all set. I will need a standard seeker.
Maybe we should ask the application if they want, or the applicant if they want to vote tonight, because you're gonna start the 90-day clock. If
They
you
may want to
vote-
wait until after they go in front of the town board.
Well, they have, I don't know what they're planning on, their timing is.
I think we're, what is, I'm sorry, what do you mean by the 90-day clock?
Well, when you have an approval of this,
Mhm.
if, should the board approve, I should say.
Right.
There's a 90-day clock that starts between now and when you'd have to file, when you'd have to get the map signed and filed it. And if you don't do it within the 90 days, you lose your approval.
Okay, I believe we will be ready for the 90 days. We're ready to ramp up this project. I appreciate your concern. though. Thank you.
Steve, anything else?
No.
Neil? Mark? Nope. You want the standard seeker?
We need a seeker, yeah.
I'll move for the standard seeker.
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss,
Yes.
and I vote yes, seeker passes. Neil, would you propose a motion for approval, please?
Yes, you're going to move for the adoption of resolution approving the application known as minor subdivision preliminary and final plan, David and Andrea Kirkpatrick, Thompson Road, tax map number 56-121.4, 2 lots, Kirkpatrick subdivision. This approval is strictly conditioned on the following. 1, the applicant is hereby advised that pursuant to section 185.6 subsection F of the code, the applicant has 90 days from the approval to file the map. If the applicant misses the 90-day filing deadline, this approval will have expired. 2, the applicant is further notified that the chairman of the planning board may delay signing of the final plan until the chairman verifies that the applicant has executed any and all necessary agreements with the town.
Would somebody like to make that as a motion?
I'll make the motion.
So moved.
Motion by Jim, seconded by
So I'll second that.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you so much.
Subdivision is
Appreciate it.
granted. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is for proposed fitness gym at the property at 5866 State Route 31. The site plan review, they've been in front of us a couple times now.
I'm nervous.
So, like we were here last time, we have the elevations and site plan for a 3,600 square foot gym.
Oh, I'm gonna pause. Oh, yeah. We have a more updated version.
Yeah, I'm looking for them. I don't see them here.
We'll just wait till we get the right ones. 225. Up one should
Okay,
be,
this is for some reason dated. Yeah.
there we go. Now we address your comments.
Just a couple, yeah, I've got a couple of examples for what other locations look like. Yeah, I only printed out three of them.
All right.
Take that one. They ran out, so.
The first one is their Albany location, and the last one is their Manlius location.
So we took some time since the last submission to try and address comments that Mark sent to us. We appreciate him getting to us very quickly. And also comments that the board had. One of the comments being, could we see a sign, an installed sign for a metabolic gym? So that's what Ryan showed you guys. The biggest change that you'll see to the plan is that instead of the back of the gym remaining as gravel parking, what we have now is we fit our need of 32 spaces with paved asphalt parking. So we will be paving the back portion of the site per Mark's request to have permanent, I guess, how do I explain this? The board is okay with sometimes the board is okay with using gravel parking as an overflow situation. We recognize that this isn't an overflow parking and it's more of a full-time Saturday morning weekly thing. So we're going to pave the whole back portion. We've also moved the dumpster and there's an adequate area to turn around, maneuver in there. The dumpster will have, the shielding, visual shielding. We've also added planting in the front, which was a request. The plants are on there and labeled. You have 2 species, they're both low, so visibility is not bad. They also have winter color and interest because we live in Syracuse, New York. The signage, we fit to the board standards. We fit the square footage that is in the code. We understand that the board has to approve that, but we do meet the code requirements in terms of size. There's one on the front, one on the side, and if you just flip through if you go to the down arrow, thank you. You just kind of see a few shots of the building, the proposed upgrades. You see the little low planting in the front, the sign in the middle, handicap accessible spaces in the front with a little drop curve to get them right into the door, and some lighting on the building, which we had a photometric plan drawn up as well. And there that shows the entire paved portion, which is currently sort of not clearly demarcated gravel lot without like clear edges, whereas this is, the lot will be delineated and painted and organized.
Very good. We'll open up to the board for questions. Mr. Duval?
Okay, so you're gonna pave to the back, but not the entire back, right?
That's correct. See that little hatch area there? So currently, if you flip to the, is there another page in there? The site prep.
Yeah, the existing gravel comes down
There
around
you go.
here. Is roughly like this. So you've got a little bit of additional paving over here and a little bit there.
And the signs, you're not gonna have a sign at the road, right?
There will be no monument sign.
Just the signs on the building.
Yep, so one on the front and a smaller one, say 3/4 size of the front one on the side. And the front one will be lit up and the side one will have no lights. So at night you won't see that one, you just see the front one.
Mr. Abbey?
This is the building that's right adjacent to the gas station.
Yes.
Correct, yeah, there's a gas station to the right on that picture.
And as far as employees and hours, what do you have there?
Oh, man, I believe it was,
You zoom in on that schedule, I have it. Go down, I'm sorry. In the zoning schedule, let's see, there it is, keep going, yeah. 6 to 9, Monday to Saturday, Sunday closed. And I believe I have, 3 employee parking spaces.
Is this like membership or?
yes, yeah, it's, specifically for classes, like it's not an open gym where you just walk in and you use the exercise machine. And they cap their classes at 36 people. So there will be a maximum of 36 people at a time.
Thank you.
Mr. Snyder.
If there's 36 people there and you have 32 parking spaces,
Most of the people, from what I've seen, are couples who work out together. So a lot of people come together.
the building that's to the east in the back that shows on your plot plan, is that a property that you guys own?
Yeah,
And what happens to that building?
That's in a separate project, so currently we're not.
It's a separate parcel.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, they own it, but there is a property line division. The pavement in that area, actually, you're correct, it kind of feels more like
Right,
a joint parcel, but it's not. There's a property line there,
that'll be something in the future.
essentially.
I guess I'm good for now.
Mr. Bluff.
I'm all set.
I'm all set. You've done some good changes, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate timely comments. It's very helpful for us.
Mr. Procopio.
I'm set, thank you.
Jermaine.
All set.
Mr. Parrish.
I think the only thing I'd want to ask is, so they're planning on, I think, using a dry bit to enhance the look of the building on 2 faces. So that would be the north face as they show here, and then the western face that goes over towards the garage. I guess the only thing I'd ask is if the board would want to have this east face taken care of also, or whether you're good with the proposal as is.
Really don't see that when you drive by that sign. Other building, if you look at the top view, yeah, the building to the east there, it really blocks off the street view. That's why we didn't propose to drive it that side.
How about we have it painted the same color as the driver?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be a minimum.
Got that, Neil?
What's that?
Get that?
I do think the plans indicate that that would be the case, but
Yeah,
it wouldn't hurt to
So
have that.
the
in
east
there.
side would be painted to match the front and west side.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. All right, I will propose the standard seeker. Do we have a second?
Second,
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
yes,
Mr. Bloss,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Seeker passes. Neil, would you propose a motion for approval, please?
Yes. You're going to move for the adoption of a resolution approving the application known as Next Choice Property Holdings LLC, Jeffrey Cohen, 5866 State Route 31, proposed fitness gym, metabolic fitness. This approval is strictly conditioned on the following. 1, the color schemes, renderings, and or elevations as presented by the applicant to the planning board in regard to the application shall be incorporated by reference into this site plan and the board's approval thereof. Accordingly, the actual project must substantially conform to the items as presented herein. 2, the applicant will paint the east side of the building to match the balance of the structure.
Somebody'd like to make that in the
So
form?
moved.
For a second?
Second.
9 of them. Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
yes.
Mr. Bloss,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion approved.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with the gym.
Thank you so much. Just for record, we also received stockbook comments, no outstanding issues,
I saw those.
just for the record.
Came in
Thank you,
late today.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.
guys.
And the last item on the agenda, this is new for us today. This is the site plan for the Copper Top Tavern. proposed parking lot expansion and expansion of the cooler and freezer area. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Mark Pearson. I'm with Shopper Architects, and I'm representing Copper Top Tavern in this planning board meeting. The proposed site plan is to increase or to create an employee parking lot along Bear Road away from the facility so that the current parking lot around the building will be more available for patrons. And they want to add a freezer and a beer cooler, which is going to allow them to reconfigure the kitchen inside because they're not going to have freezer space inside. So they're going to be able to get new equipment, new cooking equipment, and so forth. And that's the summation of the project, basically.
That parking for patients,
Patrons,
patrons,
patrons.
must be my hearing.
Probably wasn't close enough to the
I didn't
mic.
think it was medical.
Just so I can point out to what's going on here. This parking along here is all, which you're looking to add, correct?
Yes,
It'll go up along the road frontage of an existing road, Oak Drive. Yeah, residential house right here.
yes. And we're installing a fence along there and a 15-foot landscape buffer to the residential side.
I don't know if this is workable, but I want to at least throw it out there. Right now, it's kind of interesting timing because property right on the corner of Bear and 11 is in front of us for site plan. And it's a tight area. And then the property to the right of them has, I think, access to Bear Road. So it looks like there's 3 entrances. Here we go. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so this person is in front of us right now.
Okay,
It's one to the right, I think, actually, over here.
The overlay's bad, but
It is, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not well lined up here.
He owns both those
Unfortunately.
properties.
He owns both properties, right?
Yeah.
So this is the new cigarette shop or whatever they want to smoke.
That's the smoke shop here. That's the other building he owns. These should be shifted over. It's just these property lines aren't matching up well.
Just to throw it out there, I don't, it would seem like it would be really good planning if these corner properties and the Copper Top could access one entrance to the Bear Road section. I know it might be challenging. But it could benefit, I think it could benefit
I
everybody
understand
as
that.
well, because we're using less property to get to Bear Road. So everybody would end up with maybe a little bit more property as well. But I know we're dealing with somebody that's not in front of us right now. So what are thoughts? Anybody?
well, I've done this twice with the Salvation Army, once in Latham, New York, and once in Avon, Ohio. And the Salvation Army was amenable to an access easement across their property. And in Latham, it made a lot of sense because they had access to a traffic light. And they upgraded the traffic light so that it had all turning signals and everything. And the board was concerned about the next 2 parcels over. They didn't want to increase 2 more curb cuts onto the highway. Made perfect sense. That one has not, to the best of my knowledge, that one's not come to light because nobody's developed those 2 adjacent parcels yet. But when we did it in Avon, Ohio, same thing. We had a traffic light. The board wanted us to allow traffic through. When it got to, hold harmless clauses with the insurance and cost of maintenance and so on and so forth, the 2 owners couldn't come to agreements. So my experience is it doesn't work. You can put it on paper as an easement. You can go to actually go through the legal motions of developing, who's going to hold who harmless if there's an accident as you traverse your property. It gets bogged down.
We've made it work when we have the players all involved in site plan. We, cross connections we've done frequently. We don't have that luxury here, correct, Neil?
Right, we have one parcel, right, that is not in front of us.
Right.
And that's the parcel that, you might want to approach because it would seem to me a parcel that would fit well with that, with where you're at on that site. So I don't know if, I think it was just a suggestion you might take back to the powers that be that you're working with and see who the owner of that property is, whether they would be amenable to some kind of arrangement to fix a difficult situation there.
If that could happen, it would be wonderful. We're certainly not going to hold it over your head to insist that it happens, but if you're willing to.
I'll take the concern back to the owner and to, engineer and so forth.
And actually just bought it. Seriousness.
What is that noise?
Something shaking, one of the mics is shaking. I don't know what it is.
It was you, so you got to get that cross connection. All right, if you could look into that, that would be terrific.
Okay.
Well, that will open up to the board for questions, Mr. Duval.
Okay. That parking lot where the additional parking is going to be. Is there anything there currently? No,
No, there were homes.
There were a couple of houses there.
Some of the pads that gotta be removed, but not.
okay. And it'll all be paved. What about drainage?
There's a drainage sports report submitted. We're under the 1 acre of land disturbance. So,
And I read something that it was gonna be pitched.
yeah, there's currently along the west side, no, the east side.
He said, yeah.
The east edge of the parking lot, there is a drainage retention basin.
I think there's underground storage there, if I recall.
Yeah.
Mark.
Okay.
I don't recall. I don't
Yeah,
think
okay.
back and look and see.
I'm good.
Mr. Abbey?
I'm all set for now, but I look forward to, possibly working something out on the crossing.
Mr. Snyder?
This will eventually have a public hearing.
No, unless we want one.
Well, I guess I'm just wondering about that. I drove it and walked it today and we do have neighbors. I think you've done quite well in putting the 6-foot fence along the property that is to the north of your new lot. I think that's good. I think I think I'd ask for a little bit more on the planting situation. But I'm a numbers guy, so you told me how many parking spots you were gonna create. And maybe I can't count because I counted twice. I got 188 spots plus 8 handicap for a total of 196. And you have on your plan 200 and something. So I don't know whether I'm wrong in counting or whether you're wrong in what you put on the drawing.
We can double check that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm good.
Mr. Blas?
I had a question on the west end of the building. How far out are you gonna go with the, like, I presume, walk-in coolers or?
Yeah, can we go to the elevations? The next architectural sheet. Next one down, that one. So if you zoom into that top elevation. So currently there is a roof over the area. And it's got a fence around it where the dumpster enclosure is, that shaded portion. And it is where you will have the roof extension and the fence extension. I believe on our table, we indicated the current rear yard setback is 97'10" to the corner of that roof. And
Okay,
it will now be 90'7", both well within the 25-foot requirement.
and that, apparently you're gonna have, you'll have like you're gonna make that facility your walk-in cooler and that, what else is going in there?
There's a beer cooler and a walk-in freezer.
Okay,
And as I said before, that allows them to take stand
more
up
space inside of
refrigerator,
the
freezer
existing.
inside and get it them out so they can bring in other equipment.
okay, I'm good.
Mark, can you pull up the landscaping plan, please?
Which one do you have the landscape around you?
C 1.0, I believe.
Mr. Snyder had talked about the residential house on the north property line right here, and
Yeah.
there's 3 trees there. I agree with him. I think we should carry some more along this area, the trees.
Okay.
And I'd like to see something more here just to shade away the cars a little bit, some, get a little bit more creative with the landscaping there along Oak.
Along the west side.
Other than that, I don't have any other questions. Steve, do you have anything?
No.
Neil? Mark?
No, not at this time. Obviously, we'll do a full review and get comments out.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, thank you. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
That concludes our agenda items. Is there any discussion or comments from the board or the team? We have a motion to adjourn? So move. Second?